Hello crappie anglers, welcome to Sardis, Mississippi, one of the greatest crappie lakes in America. You know, in northern Mississippi there's so many great lakes, but Sardis, one of the older lakes, has always had a tremendous reputation for big fish. And not just big fish, but numbers of crappie that are taken from the lake annually. One of the favorite stops for Crappie USA and American Crappie Association anglers each year. And let's just go out today with Don, see what technique he's using to put those big slabs in the boat.
Well, you got that right, dear. I'm out here on Sardis Lake and it's beautiful. Conditions could be a little bit better, but I think I got an ace in the hole here. I'm here with legendary Roger Gant, and he has got more than 40 years experience going after these slabs. And on a day like this, sometimes you have to do something a little unconventional. And Roger, how you got us going after these crappie here today?
Well, I tell you what, just like this one right here, we've decided, you got two here.
Oh, I got two crappie.
You got two, let me catch one of them.
And it's a big one.
You got a good one.
Oh, it's a big one. Well,
here, this other one, you got some good ones too.
This is how we're going after crappie here today, and we're not going after little ones, are we? Wow!
We'll just catch us some good ones while we're here. We won't need this one. You got such a big one there.
Holy smokes, Roger!
Oh, we're having fun yet?
You know, Sardis Lake is known for their big population of big crappie, and this technique you've got us out here on today is the side pulling technique. Why don't you tell everybody how this works?
I'll tell you, we've got a technique where we're running two rods apiece over the side of the boat with a trolling motor on the back side of the boat. We're catching suspended crappie. The weather's been cold and they pull back out into deeper water. We're fishing the first week in April, and they pulled out over deep water. We can't catch a fish unless we get 20 feet deep. We're taking two jigs on a 10-pound test line, hair jigs, and we're letting them down 10 feet in 20 foot of water. And we're catching these suspended females out over this deep water. Some of the females have not gone out to spawn yet, but this technique we're using is called a side troll technique. We got a trolling motor on the side. We're counting these jigs down. We're putting them down 10 feet in 20 foot of water. And we're pulling along near the edge of where the water breaks up, where they pull back from. We're pulling along very slowly. We're pulling sideways, and these fish seem to like what we're doing okay. Even though it's been cold, when I came down here this morning, it was 26 degrees on the truck. All the timber, the leaves are killed on the trees. They're turning dark. That's all you can smell is dead leaves on the trees as you drive. So it's a kindly unusual situation, but we're catching fish and catching some good ones, I might add.
Well, Roger, you've won dozens and dozens of tournaments, and you know, you're legendary for, I mean, they've even designed this awesome Warcraft or this War Eagle boat just to do this technique for you. So I got a funny feeling that as more and more people see what this kind of technique can produce and how relaxing and how awesome it is to fish this way, that this is really going to catch on.
It is. It's beginning to catch on more every year. I was down at Ross Barnett in a tournament this year, and a guy came up and he said, "I want to see your boat." He said, "I want to fish like that. That's what I want to do." And he said, I want to look at that boat." So he went and looked at it. There is a bunch of folks that are into this. We've got people doing this all over the United States now. It's an easy way to fish, and it's highly productive. It'll catch fish in about any situation or condition. And for guiding, I can bring people out that don't know how to fish, and they can catch fish the first time. But it's a good technique, I feel like, and it's been really good for me in the guide business over the years.
And I got a funny feeling we're going to get some slabs today.
Well, folks, we're on Sardis Lake today. There's been an extreme cold front come through, and been 3 or 4 days of cold and real windy weather. I think the fish probably have pulled back. It's a little bit past the spawn, maybe just a few days past. I think the fish may be pulling back into deeper water. We're going to try to catch fish suspended over deeper water where maybe they've pulled back a little bit, and we're going to do it with a side troll technique. We're going to do it with hair jigs, and it may be windy again today, but we're going to see if we can't pull it off.
Now, Roger, what kind of gear we using here today?
Well, we're using a B&M pole. The B&M pole company has made rods for us to do this type of fishing with for a long time. They have an extremely soft tip, yet they have enough backbone to catch a fish with. We're sight fishing. This is kind of like watching a float, only we're watching a rod tip for the hit. And if you don't have a particularly soft rod tip, you won't see 50% of these hits. So B&M's got one that will show it. And what we do, I've had people to come fishing with me before and just want to use their equipment because they were used to it. And I'd say you probably won't like it, but you try it. You'll probably use mine before the day's over with, and actually they'll get out there and we'll start catching fish, and you can see the hits, and first thing you know, yeah, give me them poles. But they're made for this type of fishing, and they got that sensitive tip, and it's just something you got to have for this.
Yeah.
You really do. Okay, y'all, what we're going to do today, we're going to reel the first jig up. We've got a 2 jig rig in there, 1/4 ounce. We're going to reel it up within a foot of the rod tip. We've got casting reels, bait casting, and we're going to put the jigs in a precise place in the water. So the way we're going to find that depth, I'm going to look at the depth finder, tell how deep the fish are. We're going to mash the thumb bar on the reel and pull within 4 inches of the guide. That's going to be a pull. The angle of line I'm going to let off, I can tell by the depth finder how to put this right where the line of fish is by the angle I'm going to have down here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to count it like this. I'm going to go down 10. Lock the reel, and I'm going to lay it in the rod holder in front of the boat. And this pole is fishing right now. We're going to let the trolling motor do the work. We're going to put out 2 poles per person. I might just put 3 out here today. Do the same way. I got 1 foot down. That's 10. I'm going to lay it down. I'll just put a 3rd pole out right here and just see if we can catch an extra one. Okay, we're set. We're going to take the trolling motor now, and we're going to pull over at the end of the points where I feel like the fish have moved out from since the spawn. We're going to pull right around the edge of the deeper water here and see if one of these things will take it. All right, that'll do it. Lots better than a lot of the others do. I've had people to come and want to bring their own poles and have
Got
There you go. There you go.
There we go.
I was wondering when you was going to do that. I'll just get the net and hit it.
Oh, I got another line.
Oh,
Nice fish. Look at
that
it.
is a nice fish.
I'll be darned. Look at that.
Do you want to handle that fish?
I certainly will. Would you look at that guy? Now this,
Take it out.
I don't know if that's a female.
That is a female, and it's not spawned out yet.
Wow, nice fish, man. The first fish of the day is a nice chunky one.
It surely is.
Now she's out here over, man, we're out here in 20 feet.
She's over 20 foot of water.
Wow.
And she was about 10 feet deep over 20 foot of water.
I'll be darned. I think she fell victim to the scent. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, I won't tell you something. We're going to use every advantage we can. That's for sure.
Love was in the air, right?
I'm telling you.
Well, I'm gonna let her go back and lay them eggs, man.
Alrighty. She's pretty.
Pretty fish, man. Nice start, man. I'll be darned.
But now Sardis, it can feed the fish that's here. They'll get in great shape. I mean, there's enough food for them.
Is it shad
Yeah,
in
it's
here?
shad. It's threadfin shad. That's their main diet, and they do well here.
Do people ever use those shad bodies, those rubber shad bodies?
Not to crappie fish with much. I don't know why. I have used them and caught something on them, but it don't seem like they'll bite that. You'd think they'd bite it better than imitate a minnow, but they'll bite the hair better.
Okay.
And usually they'll bite a grub, a twister better. I don't know why that is. You know, a sassy shad, the tail on it, it's got all kinds of movement.
Yeah.
But it just don't seem to catch the fish. These other jigs do. Now it's really good for stripes and things like that. The big stripers. Sassy shad is one of the biggest baits there is at Pickwick
Yeah.
for those big fish.
The crappie like the twister tails and the skirts and the hair jigs. And
They like that kind of thing. Seems to be the best baits for them.
if somebody were coming here to fish, what's a couple of good colors for them to try out?
If they're going to come to Sardis when it's not real muddy, and that would be, you know, after the spring, as the lake begins to clear up, you can take chartreuse is one of the best. You can take a blackhead jig with chartreuse, twister or hair, whichever, and that's one of the best colors. You know, red and chartreuse is good, and also lime green. When the water clears up, a variation of head colors and lime green works well, and some yellows. We've got yellow and white's good on Sardis. It's new colors of hair. You can take this type of jig. It works real good. A yellow and white does. If water gets real muddy, pinks will work good. Dark, sometimes red, will work good on it. So it's got a lot to do with watercolor. But about all you'd have to have after the spawn would be chartreuse and lime. That'd take care of it. But during the spawn, a lot of times you have muddy water and you'll need some yellows and orange. A lot of orange will work here.
So it seems like bright colors mainly.
It does. Bright colors it seems to be good on this thing.
Got him.
Look at this right
Got
here.
him.
Look at this right here.
One little tap. Little tap.
Look what he's got here.
Oh, another good one.
Look what he's got.
Another good one. Man.
Look what he's got here.
Wow. Holy smokes.
I tell you what.
You got us on the program.
You know how.
You got us on the
Let
program.
me let you touch that fish.
Man.
There you go.
A hefty slab. I tell you what, Roger, never having fished this way, you can't help but be skeptical. I mean, anytime something's new, but it has not taken long to convince me.
Well,
I mean, the quality of these fish.
They're nice. We're on a good lake, and
Wow.
we're doing it right.
Unbelievable.
Sardis is a fine lake. It really is.
Man, incredible. I'll be darned. I'm sold. There you go.
You've got to pay attention to what you're doing in order to be successful at it. And I would tell people that if you catch fish at a given time and catch a lot, to remember what the situation was. Was it clear? Was it cloudy? Was it muddy? Was it high? Was it low? If you remember that, it'll work for you again.
You can duplicate it.
You sure can. You know, Don, I don't put this scent on all the time, every time we pull a fish out. But after it's been on a while, I reapply it to the hair. It lasts for a long time, but I reapply it. I'm gonna put some more on these. After it's been an hour or so, I like to reapply it. It works well. That bait mate, it helps. It helps catch fish. There you go, catch that fish.
There we go. Took it right under.
Catch it.
About took the pole in, man. Oh, that's a good one.
Look at that one.
Look, that's a good one, man.
Look what it is.
Wow, look at the mouth on this guy.
Look at this.
Holy cow. Yeah.
tell you what,
Big
let me
belly
know.
girl. She took that jig way down here. And I'm going to do my best not to hurt her getting it out.
That's right, because she's
Wow.
going to lay here in a few days when this cold front leaves,
Yeah.
and we want her to.
Drop all them eggs.
That's right. All the
Man.
little ones we can get, we'll appreciate.
Man, oh man. There we go. Didn't hurt you a lick.
That's right.
The big belly on that girl.
That is right.
My goodness. Well, all we're going to do is take your picture, but
That's
you're
all.
going to go back in there and lay some eggs,
That's
girl.
right. We're going to leave you.
Man, oh man. Well, we're on these pretty ones out here. And what depth are we at?
20 foot.
25.
You will be at 20 foot if you get a bite.
Roger, I notice every time you go into one of your turns, I'll see the angle change on some rods, and it'll be different on another. Do you get a lot of hits when that happens?
Sometimes you will. If a lot of times you'll turn, I'll be turning pretty fast, and the rods that drop down, for some reason a fish likes to catch something falling. It'll let some of the jigs drop lower. A fish likes a falling bait, and you'll catch it. You'll get a hit a lot of times on a turn simply because of the baits falling, going down.
So the inside lines are usually the ones
Usually the ones that'll get the hit. The ones that are on the outside will come less likely getting hit than the ones on the inside.
Okay.
On a turn.
Yeah, I could just see those angles changing. I said, you know, it seems like some are lower right now than others.
It does. It'll drop them. It's a funny thing about a lot of times you can take a rod, which I don't do this and I don't tell my clients to do it, but I've done this before and I've seen it done. You can take a pole going along here and do this.
Oh, and just let it drop.
Bam, and one will take it. Before, if I've seen the going get real rough, you can take one, pick it up, and go.
Follow it down.
And feel one hit it. But that's a lot of work.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you was really needing one, like it wouldn't hurt if we had one now, a lot of times you can make one hit it with it.
Following it down.
What it's really doing, no matter where the fish would be sitting where they were suspended at, if you picked it up 3 feet, you'd be dropping it in front of more fish than you would just running on a stationary pattern. A lot of times they'll hit it like that.
Covering more water.
Covering more water. Now, when it does this, let me fan your poles apart right here. We'll get all the coverage. We're going to have even coverage across the boat, like this. Now, when you get a hit, reach in front of this reel and set it. Not back here, you'll hit the thumb bar.
Oh, okay.
Just reach up here. Give it a yank. Turn the reel right over and reel it up.
Okay.
Let's don't give it any slack. Now, when the rod moves, when the tip does this, do this.
Okay.
Don't wait on anything. He'll do it one time and one time only.
Okay.
The quicker you do it, the more we'll catch.
All right.
52.2.
62-degree water temperature.
The water temperature has dropped 8 degrees in the last 4 days here.
Man.
8 degrees.
So you were fishing it at 70.
We was fishing at, it's been above 70 on some days.
Wow.
It's dropped 8 degrees. That has to be hard on the spawn. It has to be.
Looks like you got a real irregular bottom here, Roger.
We do. There's some stumps and structure on this bottom, and it gradually goes out to I suppose it's an old channel here behind us, but there is a deep place. It's a slough or an old channel out here, and these fish usually just back off from the spawn out, and they'll hang around the edge of this deep, the break line, and we're going to follow it on out to where it breaks, and hopefully we'll get a hit along that break line or somewhere in between.
Roger, I asked this out of everybody I've ever fished with, guys, pro tournament guys, whatever, because I guess I'm just trying to believe it or not believe it on my own. But a lot of guides tell me that the solunar tables, the moon phase and the where it's at, definitely affects when and how these fish bite. How do you feel about that?
I think it does somewhat. There is something to it. It does make somewhat of a difference, especially if you take in the summertime, if you've got a full moon, it seems to affect it more like that to me than any other time of the year. You'll have fish that'll feed a lot at night, and they'll be hard to catch up a morning on a full moon in the summertime. I think it does affect it some, but when you're a fishing guide, you have to adjust to it because everybody don't come fishing. by the tables. So I try not to think about it and I try not to worry with it. I go and fish a day just according to the way I fish. And it is in the back of my mind, but I know I got to do it anyway. But there is some effect.
So a lot of these females haven't spawned,
Some have not. That's right.
and so they're staging to go in, so the males are already in there?
The males are in there. That's where they're at. For the most part, the males are still there.
So in a tournament, are you mainly looking for the females?
The females is what we'd rather have.
What are the predators that are preying on these crappie in this lake?
Well, now gar is pretty hard on them in the summertime.
Gar.
You'll catch numerous fish in here with marks where gar has planted.
Mm.
Now gar will wear a crappie out in the summertime. Now they do, and I guess that's probably the hardest thing on them, gar.
They gonna have those big flathead catfish in here?
Yeah, they have a lot of flatheads in here, and I know they eat some of them. But now you see marks from gar all the time.
Wow.
That's just a normal thing. We'll catch 7 or 8 a day in the summertime. They'll have marks from gar on them where they got away.
Wow.
And imagine the one that don't get away.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Yep. Yep, got one. There he is. Just like you said. You know, Roger just made this move. He said, well, let me go ahead and ease on back out here in the deeper water. And I got a feeling that we'll start catching him again. And as soon as he gets us back out here, he said, now hang on, hang on. And sure enough, as soon as he gets us out here, bam.
There it goes.
You got him figured out already, Roger.
You know, it's kind of strange that they would be sitting over the deep and not over the 14 or 15, but they are. And the reasoning for that is I don't know exactly why it is, but it is, if it works, we got to do it.
And the way I understand, the way it was explained to me, this is a female because it's got a real small black dot. Is that a good way to tell?
Well, the males at this time of the year, they turn black.
Oh, okay,
They'll turn black in the spring, they'll be black spotted, and the female will remain white. Now the male, after the spawn, it'll go back white just like the female.
Okay, okay.
But at this time of the year, that male's gonna be black spotted.
Yeah, somebody just told me about the little tiny black dot on the gill too.
Yeah,
they
do have a
said,
dot.
look for
They
that.
have a black dot on it, they sure do.
Huh.
But that is a female. You got to see where she spawned out. Her belly is not real big.
Not real thick.
She's
Okay.
already laid her eggs and she's moved back out over this deep water, and that's the ones we're catching.
Well, I'm glad to meet you. Good deal, man. Just like you said. Boy, I like it when a good plan comes together.
Well, it works sometimes. That's what we're going to have to do to catch one, just like that.
Oh, man, he's going to town. Look at that. Wow. Well, he's trying to swim off to the dam there, Roger.
This dummy ought to be back while we're doing other things. I don't know what's wrong with him.
He's trying to swim off to the dam, huh?
I'm telling you. Swim off to the dam. Go back down there and do your thing.
Well, some of them pull pretty doggone good.
They do.
There it is. Boy, that was late too, and I still got it. Boy, I was late. I was late, and he just hung on long enough.
Look at this.
Oh my God! Boy, when you talk about late.
This is why you was late.
Yeah, I was late. All right, he was trying to leave.
He'd already turned the top on the loose and the bottom and got it.
Well, that was late, boy. That was.
Good. I like it.
Oh my goodness.
I turned out over that water that was shallower than 20. And just as we went back off of the 20 break line, that fish hits.
Got him.
My goodness.
Got him.
Catch it. Catch it.
Well, I just can't keep from catching fish every time you hit 20. Every time you hit 20. And you just got done saying, here we are at 20.
Here we are.
And really, I wouldn't even have to ask you. As soon as the fish gets on, I'll know we're there. Hang on, girl. Hang on. There we go. We'll get you right back in there. There you go. My goodness. Now I'm gonna say, would you say that's a female too? The real small dot like that?
That may be, I can't tell if that's a male or not.
Okay.
I believe it's a female, but I can't tell.
Seems like there's a little bit of belly, but maybe she's already laid her eggs.
I believe she's laid most of it. It looks like a female to me.
Huh. Well, go take a break, girl.
What this?
You know, Roger, here on Sardis, I mean, we've been catching fish all morning, but I know a lot of places we go, it's typically a morning bite, and then there's a lull for an hour or so, and then it slowly starts, and there's a real nice evening bite. Do you find that it's the same thing? That it's the same thing pretty much all year? Woo!
As a general rule, they do have times that they bite better. It's not necessarily early in the morning all the time. It depends. A lot of times in the wintertime, it's up in the day when they bite better. But when they get on a early of a morning bite like that, it usually goes for a few weeks, and then it changes throughout the year. They'll bite at different times.
So not always just in the morning or you're done.
It's not always just in the morning. If the water's real cold and it's cold weather, a lot of times they'll bite better up in the day.
There you go.
When,
There you go.
When they start doing that, they're like, my goodness.
Well, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a 10-inch fish.
A little bit of a belly left on there.
Yeah, still got a little bit. Maybe after this cold spell is over with, they'll go back and finish laying. I'm hoping they will.
Make
this
for a
one
good.
took it so deep, but it didn't hurt her. She'll be fine.
I think I'm setting them a little bit too high, but look at that. Look at that.
Fish play there.
Nice crappie. Look at that. Oh yeah, you got an attitude too, don't you? Well, I think you're almost ready for the net. What do you think? Well, they're liking that bottom jig.
Yeah, that bottom's the closest one to them. We could count it down a little bit further and catch them on the top one. That's pretty.
Pretty fish. A lot of females.
Lots of females in here.
I guess that's a good sign, seeing
It is a good
seeing
sign.
that many.
I'm sure proud of them.
We're gonna count down. 3.
Fishing guides probably appreciate fish a lot more than other people do.
Yeah.
I know I've got a great appreciation for them because they help me to make a living.
Go 12 that time.
What did I say?
Now, Roger, every time. Oh, are you kidding me? It was a rookie hook set. That's what it was. A rookie hook set.
That one got lucky.
I didn't put enough in the hook set.
That one got lucky.
You know, Roger was saying, now get ready. We're coming right up to that 20. We're almost there. And then bam, he hit it, and I just didn't give it enough good hook set. He got right up to the top, but I'm learning. I'm still learning. You know, Roger's been schooling me.
Every once in a while, one's just going to get lucky anyway.
There it is. Every time we get right at the spot, boy, he's just taking off. Taking off. My goodness.
They're active. They really are.
Well, you're right where you're supposed to be on that spot, buddy.
He was at the right place.
See if I can't get this out of you painlessly as possible. You didn't get it deep or anything, you just got it. But you got it in there solid. A little female, looks like. I think you got a year or two to go, huh? Look at that, look at that. My goodness. We can't hardly take a break, man. Well, you are a quick draw, my God. That's a nice fish.
We'll just have to catch one when he
wow.
Sometimes.
Now she's got a belly on her.
Yep,
so she hasn't spawned yet either.
This is not complete. There's a lot of fish out here in this deep water that has not spawned.
Yeah.
You take The shallow water fish every year, the ones that are shallow by nature spawn first, and the deeper water fish are later. And
Okay.
a lot of these fish out here now, it'll be a while before a lot of these fish lay out. They spawn over a long period of time. Of course, nature takes care of the lakes and the species by all fish not being ready at the same time.
Right.
We've got a severe cold front on us right here that's worse than it's ever been. It may have messed up some of the spawning of part of the fish, but the rest of them, as this water warms up, will go do their thing in a normal fashion, and it takes care of the species. No
So
doubt.
if you wanted to fish this spawn, it's not like you got to be down here over a 1 week period.
No, it's a longer period of time, lots longer.
Now, Roger, as I look around, there's a lot of bank lines showing. Is Sardis pretty low right now?
It is low. Normally Sardis would be, well, you wouldn't see the bank lines that we're seeing now at all.
Oh.
But this year, there just hasn't been any rain in the area to mount anything. And all the lakes, Arca Butler, in fact, it's so low you can't put a boat in it hardly. But it's just on account of the lack of rain. And these fish are having to spawn further out than normal.
Mm.
And we're fishing further out this time of the year than we normally would be.
So you had temperatures up in the 80s here a couple weeks back, didn't you?
Well, we were fishing in short sleeve shirts in 88-degree weather a week ago,
Oh.
and here we are the last 3 nights. It's been frost every night,
Oh, man.
and it's been in the 20s. As I drove down here this morning, I saw 26 degrees on the truck. So
Wow.
that's cold for this time of the year.
Well, you know what that tells me, though? I mean, we've still caught fish here today. This technique, getting out right over these fish, with a side trolling technique, it puts it right in their face, don't it?
We're able to come out and see them on the depth finder. A lot of these fish have backed up some on account of the temperature, and we're able to see them on the depth finder lining up and come over deeper water and cover a lot of ground, side pulling. And that's what helps us. We can cover a lot of water going this way, and we can see them suspended out here over it. So it's a good technique for a situation like this.
There we go.
Here's a little. Here's a little.
Well, every time that thing says 20 feet, you nail one.
You're going to get one in 20
Oh, there's a good one. Wow. There's a nice crappie. Man, oh man. Looky there. Wow. That is a slab, buddy. Boy, Sardis has got some slabs after all, man.
Oh, it does. It's got some good fish
You were quick on the draw when you got this boy.
in it. And good numbers of them, too.
And she's still got a big belly,
Yes,
so
she
she
does.
hasn't dropped yet.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow, so she's hanging out here in this 20-foot too,
Yeah, she's
getting ready to
waiting.
go in.
When this
Man, what a
water
haul.
warms back up, she'll go out and lay.
My goodness, well, we'll put her in here and get some pictures of her. That's a big girl. Man, good deal.
All right. All right.
Got another one, huh?
Here's another one.
Well, that one's staying down.
That's a good one.
Oh, yeah. Well, these things aren't coming in quietly. Darting all over the place today. That's a nice one.
Tell you what, this one's already laid out. This female here, see, she's thin as she can be.
Oh, okay.
She's laid out. That's
Okay.
good. We've got a lot of fish spawned out.
Well, as sensitive as this spawn is, what do you feel about some of these limits that they've got here on these lakes? Should they be lowered or?
Don, I feel like with the techniques there is with fishing now and the numbers of fish that a lot of people are good at catching fish, with the numbers we have of fishermen, I feel like we'd be better if we cut the limits. Myself, there's like 30 fish limit on most of the lakes in Mississippi. I would be happy with 15. I think 15 is enough. I think it would make more for all of us in the future. And a lot of people, they can catch 30 fish pretty easy with the spider rigs and the fishing techniques we have now. It's just pretty easy to catch 30 fish, and I think we'd all be better off if we cut it to 15. I'd be happy for it. I really would.
Well, you probably see a lot bigger population of larger fish doing that.
I think you'd see more numbers of fish, and they're putting size limits on fish now, and even getting them up to 11, 12-inch size limits. And if you cut those back to 15 fish on a lot of the lakes, there's one. I feel like it'd be a good thing. I really do.
Oh,
Good fish.
I got them in another line.
Good
oh,
fish.
they're good ones.
All right.
And you know, for people to be able to come down here anytime and be able to catch a nice mess of quality fish, it just makes sense to do some conservation.
That's what I think too, and I believe most of the people now, I believe they'd be happy with that, cutting the size limit on them. Here's another one.
Oh man. Gee, but you got us in the pod now.
We're right on target here. We're right at the edge of the 20 foot, and it's working well for us.
You know, Grenada went to that 12-inch limit, and you know, there's probably a lot of lakes that could do the same thing.
I think so. There's a lot of things could be changed about it. There's some lakes where the population's real high that maybe you wouldn't want to cut it on, but on a lot of lakes, it's a good thing. I feel like we ought to be selective with the lakes, you know, that we do put it on. You know, you don't want to get the fish to overpopulate where they won't be enough feed for them. But on lakes that the fish are not overpopulated, I think we ought to cut it. Cut the limit on it. I'd be in for that myself. But just on a selective basis for the lakes, of course.
Roger, especially fishing in this pre-spawn or during the spawn, you get a lot of these big females, you know, loaded with eggs. What's your feeling on maybe asking clients to put some of those big breeding females back?
You know, Don, I think it would be a good thing for some folks. I've even had people that fish with me to do that. They'd say, this female has got a lot of eggs in it, I don't want to keep it. And they'd go ahead and keep smaller fish that had already spawned out or maybe didn't have as many eggs. But, you know, as far as asking people to do it, I don't do that. I might say something about it and let it be up to them if they want to, but a lot of people now are conscious of the fact that we do need to have conservation in our fishing and try to make things better. And a lot of people are just voluntarily doing it on their own.
You know, I'm having such an awesome time here with Roger here on Sardis, and you know, I always catch and release. I mean, I love eating crappie, but if I eat a crappie, it's going to be an eating size crappie. And we've had a chance today so far to see some pretty big females coming out with some eggs. And I know Roger. I mean, Roger catches these 3, 4, probably 10 pounders that he's not telling us about, you know. But, you know, next time you're down here with a guide or just down here fun fishing, when you start getting some of these big, giant females loaded with eggs, you know, the best advice that I could give you, break out the digital camera. Put that gene pool back and just get you a nice photo, and you can get one of those fiberglass reproductions made. That'd be my tip for you. Man.
I'll see how it works. And
Quick draw.
yeah, you got to be quick. All right, that's not a big bull, but he's a.
Well, look at that blue tint on it. I'll be darned.
That color pretty.
Yeah.
A crappie is a beautiful fish. They got a bluish, purplish tint.
Yeah.
Hold them in sunlight.
Yeah, that one's not all bleached out. It's got that blue, you know, up near the top.
It sure does. Now, the difference in color of the water, I'm going to put this in here a little while. We got some water in it, but we'll release them in a minute. We'll see what 4 or 5 of them look like together.
See that?
Plumb out of the water.
Did you see that? Came right out of the water. I think I'm in the subtle. This is a good fish.
That's all right. Let's catch him.
Man, came right out of the water. Wow, I've never had that happen.
This fish is jumping like a bat, dog.
I never had that happen to me. I'll be darned. Thing flipped, did a big old tail walk on
There
us.
you go. Sure did.
My goodness. Well, you wanted to put on a show.
Look where it was at. Look at the break.
Right at 20 feet. Man, did a tail walk, jumped backwards, got another line, but all kinds of menace going on with this fish. Oh, man, he earned his reprieve. Roger, you know, people come here to Sardis, you know, as great a fishing as it is, but, you know, this is a big lake. Are there some basic locations, some spots that you could recommend some people can go and have a good time crappie fishing?
Absolutely, Don. It depends on the technique you want to use and what time of the year it is, but you can put in down middle ways of the lake. It's somewhat middle ways down around Holiday Lodge, and you can go either way. If you like to vertical jig or you like to minnow fish just with jig poles and all around timber, there's a lot of timber down in that area, and you can get in there in the spawn season or in the fall either, for that matter, around that timber, and just catch good numbers of good sized fish. And as the summer goes on, there's a lot of fishing down toward the dam, Clear Creek area on up from there to the dam. The fish come off of the beds, and as the water falls in the summertime, they move toward the dam. Big numbers of fish come down from the timber in the upper end after the spawn. And you can go down, there's ramps all over the lake on both sides of the dam. And you can put in the lower parts, those fish suspend over that deep water in the summertime on the thermocline in the water. And all the trolling and stuff takes place in the summertime down from Clear Creek down toward the dam. So it depends on the time of the year. You can get in the creek itself in the spring, early in the spring, that goes up through the timber, and a lot of fish are caught off the sides of the creek early in the year. So if you're going to fish in the summertime, you can think down from midways down toward the dam, and in the spring from midways upwards usually. So it usually works best.
Okay. You know, Roger, normally when there's a big cold front, fishing gets tough. Now, I know you're out here putting on a clinic today, and we're doing great, but typically a lot of places we go, man, I mean, fish get lockjaw. Are there some things that you could recommend people do that would increase their odds on catching some good crappie?
Yes, Don. A lot of times fronts are more severe than others. In this case, this one is an extremely severe front we're fishing in right now, and it's been days of cold weather. When the barometer changes the way it has with this, most of the time a person needs to think is deeper. As a general rule, if you'll think deeper during this time, you'll do better. And there's deep water fish that's always deep. Sometimes when you're talking about deep water fish, people want to generalize, but you can't do that. Deep water fish depends on which end of the lake you're on as to how deep. But most of the time, think when you get a pressure system like we've got and a front this severe, think like, I need to move deeper. I need to catch fish that are deeper by nature than they are. It'll cause the shallow water fish to back up a little bit, but it'll also cause them to quit hitting. The deeper fish are not affected near as bad as the shallow ones are. So I always think deeper in this situation. I'm sitting
There
here,
it is.
I'm sitting here looking at you. I'm glad we got somebody taking care of us. I really am. I really am.
Boy, that's a fighter there, man.
This right here don't even know what he wants to do.
Well, that one's wanting to go all over the place.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, yeah.
We've got people taking care of us.
That's a darker one there.
Yeah, this one right here it's got a little more color to it. You know, the difference in the water color on one end of this lake and the other will make a difference in the color of the fish.
Yeah, this one's got a lot more black.
Yeah, it's blacker. The water is clearer down here than it is in some parts of the lake. The clearer the water, the blacker they are. So,
would you say she's already dropped her eggs?
most of this one, see how thin she is?
Uh-huh.
This one's basically laid.
Okay.
We've got both right here. We've got some that have and some that have not. And
This is one that's probably already?
that's one that's already laid. Sure is.
Huh. Well, so she's just out here on a vacation now. She already did all the hard work.
That's right.
You know, Roger, one thing that's selling me on this side trolling technique is that we've got the coverage on the rods without having to use these big 16-footers and all this stuff that make it real gangly.
That's right.
Oh, and there you go. You know, showing us why we're doing this side technique. But, you know, we still get that wide coverage, but with smaller rods where we can control the fish and
That's
still
right.
spread everything out
That's
over
right.
20 feet or however long your boat is.
We can do that. The poles we have we're using here for the most part are 6.5 foot. And we got better control with it. When we hook a fish with this rod, we can move the rod back and forth with control and keep them from tangling. If you got a bunch of long poles sticking out here, which we don't need for any reason doing this kind of pulling, you wind up with tangled up lines all the time. It's
Yep.
just much better to have this kind of a rod in this situation. And fortunately, B&M makes a rod that'll do it.
Yeah, yeah.
If you'll notice, we've got trap doors where you're fishing over the live well.
Uh-huh.
We've got trap doors in the top of that live well, and you wouldn't even have to move your poles. I can put a fish in the live well, or the person in the front can put one in there, and your poles won't even be touched.
Oh, so they just
See
sink
the
right
live
down in?
well?
Oh, looky there.
So I had them to build that where the person in the middle won't miss a fish.
I'll be there.
For weeks, it rolled out. And they've been doing it ever since.
And they also put a trolling motor bracket up here too,
Yeah,
in case you wanted to.
yeah, you can put it, you can do anything. It's got a bracket that goes on the front. You can do anything with it. It's extremely versatile. You can do just about any kind of fishing out of this boat that you want to.
Well, they were listening.
They did. On the 13.
You know what, Roger? You're amazing, man. Roger says, hey, I think we ought to drop down to 13. So anytime Roger says that, I mean, you know, if you got any sense, you're going to do exactly what he says. So that's what I did. I don't know any better, so I just went to 13 just like he said. And boom, I mean, in under a minute, I was just getting ready to sit here and talk about fishing in a river type situation, and bam, nail one right at 13. As soon as he said go there, I went, and there it was. So I mean, being ready to adjust, I guess, is a big part of being out here under these tough conditions, eh, Roger?
What it is, it's being conscious of what the fish are doing. I'm sitting here looking at the depth finder, and I noticed the fish beginning to line up at 13 feet. They've been in a range of about 4 feet where we could go either way. Most of the fish have been around 10, but they're beginning to line at about 13 now. And they've got a little bit tougher to catch, and we just had to drop down to them. That's what it is.
And it sure enough worked.
You know, the American Crappie Association was actually founded for everyone from the weekend angler to the tournament pro. And part of the benefits of the association include Crappie Journal, the quarterly publication and official publication of the Crappie USA Tournament Trail. As a member, you're eligible to fish any or all of the 45 annual Crappie USA events. And we're easy to contact. Just give us a call toll free at 888-311-CUSA or visit us on the web at crappieusa.com.
There we go.
If you put your,
That's the one I missed.
I'm just glad we recaptured him.
Oh, nice fish. Look at that.
We recaptured him anyway.
Look at that.
That's another female.
Chunky one.
See, this female has not spawned.
Yeah, she's still got eggs.
See that big belly on her?
Yeah.
This fish hadn't laid. Now there's a lot of fish here that have, but there's a lot that have not.
So
They
she's
lay
still
over
staging out here.
a long period of time. That's right.
Huh.
There
There you go.
he was. That made a miserable mistake, didn't he?
Well, they're fighting real good today, though.
Miserable. That right there hit it pretty hard. Now this fish bit a neon color. I've been catching them on the line primarily, but that didn't hit a neon.
Huh. He hit it hard, too. Roger, all the days you put in here on Sardis, is there any one of them that kind of just stands out as being a particularly awesome day?
Yes, Don, there he is. I guess every guy's probably got stories they tell that stick out in their mind more than other things, but Last year I had a couple to come. They called and booked a trip, and to me it was just a normal situation until I got down to meet them at the lodge down here. And when I met them, the guy called me over to the side and explained to me how they had lost their son. They were an older couple, and he said that his wife had just gone further into depression and further, and she was just in real bad shape. And they had a neighbor that had fished with me before, and he told them that they ought to come down here, and it might do them both good to get away and do something different. So he told me, he said, no matter what you do today, he said, if you can make my wife forget everything, he said, it really mean a lot to me. I said, well, we'll see if we can't get her out and get her excited about catching some fish. So we came out on the lake, and I usually show people, well, I always show people how we put the rods down, how we put the count down like we've done here today. And as I was showing them, I was putting both of their rods out for them first. They actually caught 9 crappie while I was before I ever put my poles in the water. While I was trying to get them set up, they put 9 fish in the boat. Of course, I pitched a marker out. We was on fish real good, and I stopped on a place where we normally catch some fish, and I pitched a marker out on it, and we circled that marker until after 12 o'clock. Shortly after 12, we had caught 90 fish. And those 2 people, they forgot everything, because anybody catches 90 fish in that length of time, you're going to forget your troubles. There's no doubt about that. But anyway, she just caught more fish than she had ever caught in her life. She got excited about it and just had a wonderful time. And we got back and was dressing the fish, and he came over and he paid me, and he said, this is for the guide trip. And he said, this extra, he said, is for possibly saving my wife's life. So that, to me, I guess, was one of the better things that sticks out in my mind of anything I've ever done guiding. I felt like that was probably one of the better things that we'd ever done.